Okay, so I made two mistakes resulting in me needing to continue this video on the Visconti Sforza Tarot deck with a second video. The first mistake was that I pushed the wrong button. Rather than to pause, I hit stop. So it's disjointed, and I hope you're able to figure out that you're supposed to watch this second. But at any rate, the other mistake I made was referring to this as the Rosenwald when it is the Budapest. But at any rate, the Budapest does have the original devil. So the devil was in the repertoire of tarot decks, at least for the common man. This would have been a common playing deck for common folk. So I don't know if the Visconti Sforza people were too genteel to have a devil card or not, but it didn't exist. Neither did the Tower card, this card is another recreation. However, the Estensi, which was a similar period of time, does still have, the original Tower card, which is a building that has something causing a fire. And the Budapest also exists, the original tower. So we know that the devil and the tower did exist in other decks of the period, but just not in the Visconti Sforza cards. Here we have Temperance. Here we have the Star card. Now, in the Star card, we see the same landscape motif that we'll see in a few cards yet, and we already saw it in the Temperance card. A woman gazes and holds or points to an 8-pointed star. Venus this is probably Venus, because Venus is typically symbolized by an 8-pointed star, because ancient astronomers observed that the planet followed an 8-year cycle. One cycle on Venus represents 8 years on Earth. So Venus, is typically represented by the eight rayed or 8-pointed motif. Venus is both a morning and evening star, visible at both night and then the morning. Venus is typically or traditionally identified as a woman and can be said to represent the sacred female. The woman depicted might be a reference to Astia, the virgin daughter of Zeus, known for her innocence. Astia, I apologize for not pronouncing it properly if I'm not, found human ways of the world too much for her, and she retreated to the heavens in disgust, which is why she's associated with Venus. Here we have the moon. Like the moon, like the woman in the Star card, the woman on the moon card looks to or reaches for the moon. This woman, as well as the woman in the Star and Temperance, are all wearing a style of dress called a chiton or chiton, a type of tunic worn in ancient Greece with a simple belt pulled in under either the bosom or the waist. You see it here. So we see in these three cards at least a reference to antiquity. And in the landscape of this card and the Star and Temperance, they all show the same crack in the earth, right? Some scholars have identified this particular woman as Hecate, the Greek goddess of the new moon. She is said to have traveled between the living and the dead, or more accurately, the underworld. I mean, I've read about her a lot, and I should know how to pronounce her name properly, and I'm ashamed that I don't. But those of you who are readers and you've seen the word, you know how that can be. Okay, the next card is the Sun card. A winged youngster floats above a cloud and holds a sun with a face on it. This iconography identifies this young man as the sun god Apollo. The landscape is similar to the previous cards I've mentioned, with the cracked earth. He wears a coral necklace, which would have been understood, coral having magical properties. The Judgment card, celestial and earthly realms appear in this card with a clear Christian reference to the Last Judgment of the Holy Scriptures. Trumpets are lowered and crossed, unlike the way they appear in the Madrone. Let me pause, if you trust me, to push the right button, and I'll pull the Madrone Judgment card to compare the direction in which those trumpets are held. Okay, so here we have the Madrone, and in the Madrone, there are trumpets, but it looks like there's only one. So it's different. It's a different iconography. It's interesting to compare an earlier card of the same, subject with an older, with a more recent one. So you could see how, even though they have been commissioned by the same family, different artists just had different, even if they were created by the same artist, they would have had a different feeling the next time they did the cards. And the last card is the World card. We have winged boys holding up a large sphere that contains a castle and probably an idyllic city scene, kind of like an idealized Renaissance city, a type of utopia maybe. Maybe it represents the city of Ferrara, since the deck was actually created in Ferrara. And let's look at other contemporary decks of the day. The Estensi also focuses on a city landscape, an idyllic, location. The Budapest has an angel, not two winged angels, but, an angel holding the vision within a globe or a sphere. And then an earlier, the Madrone Tarot deck, since I had it out, we have an angel. Is this an angel? I don't see wings, but the trumpet has wings. and again, an idyllic cityscape. So those are the trump cards of the Visconti Sforza. So now let's just take a good look at the pips, which will have less labor-intensive, commentary. So here we have the coin, the Ace of Coins. It appears to be. Oh, I got these upside down. My apologies. So this appears to be a bit of a facsimile deck. I believe that this translates to like having a right to reign, a right to their position of power. And I'm trying to get, it's kind of hard to see, but the coins have appear to have the radiant sun. I apologize for my neighbors down there. Yeah, and in person you can make out the pattern. Can you see that? I've been in search of coins with that pattern. I did find a Sforza coin that I showed in my Madrone video. And if you recall, and if you haven't seen it, then I invite you to go see my video on the Visconti Madrone Tarot Deck, which I mentioned would probably have been commissioned in honor of Bianca Maria and Francesco Sforza being married. I do have a coin that was actually, circulated at that time. It's really, it's like, what is it, like 600 years old, and it has the family, the Visconti Sforza, symbol. At any rate, these coins have a different symbol. So I guess I got a little bit of a mishmash upside down. The page, you can barely make out the coin because it's the same color as the background, but you can see the coin better there, right? You get the idea that the Visconti Sforza clan were a bunch of blondes. The king looking rather young. Ah, an interesting footnote. I just know this trivia. The Ace of Cups as a fountain was probably used as a motif because Francesco Sforza's father, a reference to his father, who drowned trying to save one of his own pages. He drowned, and in the water, his body was never found. And so, as a testimony to his father, or in honor of his father, the suit of cups was represented as a fountain with water flowing, which may have been the reason why we associate the suit of cups with water. 2. The backs of these, I should mention, are the same as the originals. Just a red, plain red. Page, the knight, the queen, all of them holding the symbol of their suit. And the king, again, looking rather young. Okay. The suit of batons. I have some of these upside down. I apologize. It's hard for me to see because I have a tripod in front of me, so. And really beautiful patterns. And again, the beautiful way that Il Meneghello reproduced this deck. The page, the knight, the queen, and king. And I believe, we have 2 more suits left. Oh no, this is the last suit, the suit of swords. And you know that we don't have scepters here, as we see in the French and the Spanish, and not scepters, scimitars. We have straight swords. Look how beautiful. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. And the page, the knight. Some of them are very feminine. The queen. And again, another really young king. So this is my video. Well, my two-part video. I do apologize, and I hope you were able to figure it out. If you're watching this and you didn't see the first half, go to the first half, you know, the first part of the video that I created. I do apologize for my mistake. But at any rate, I hope you have found this to be insightful, interesting at the very least. And I don't know, you learn a little something every time you see a historic deck. There's always something of value that it can bring to your understanding of the cards. And that's why I focus on the historic cards so much. And as a teacher, I just like to encourage people to understand where the cards come from. If you understand them at a cellular level, you'll get them, right? You'll understand them. Until next time, friends, peace and stay well.